Check. Checkmate.
Now Snarley wouldn't have made that move.
Who saw Snarley?
You don't know who Snarley Fox is?
No.
Uncle Bill, why don't you tell the children about Snarley Fox?
Haven't you known about Snarley Fox?
No.
John, I thought you knew about Snarley Fox.
Well, let me tell you about old Snarley Fox. I thought you all lived down here at Brush Creek long enough that you'd known Snarley Fox. You know, Snarley is kind of a unique fox because he's a fox that talks. Now, everybody's a little surprised with that, and not too many people believe you. But a lot of people, you know, if you tell them a parrot talks, they can believe that. But they just don't want to believe that old Snarley, a fox, can talk, you know. But he can. Trouble is he only talks to Hamptons, best I know. That's about the only ones, at least, that I know he talks to. But anyhow, old Snarley Fox lived down at Brush Creek, right up near the crag over there above the swimming hole. And he lives with his mother and his little sister up there. Now, the first time I guess I ever remembered anything about old Snarley Fox was when I came up on him. Now, it was so cold down in Brushy Creek, you couldn't believe how cold it was. There were icicles everywhere. And I saw old Snarley right on the creek bed, right in front of the cave, and he had a fire going, and right away I knew that Snarley had done something wrong, because his mother told him, don't you ever, ever play with matches. And there he had gotten matches out and started a fire. And I said, Snarley, what in the world are you doing? And he just kind of gave it this old number, warming his free paws, and he was kind of stroking his real big pretty tail, you know, and he didn't answer me. He just kind of looked up in the sky, you know. And I said, Snarley, did you snitch some matches? And he kind of looked around, you know, gave it that number for a little while. I said, Snarley, you snitched matches, didn't you? And he says, it do beat me how cold it is. He never did answer me. And I said, well, I know one thing, you're going to be in trouble with your mother when she finds out. And about that time, while we were talking, old Possum came slithering out of the woods, and old Snarley, he wasn't too tactful, you know. He started laughing at old Possum, and I said, what in the world are you laughing at Possum for? And he says, look at his tail. Well, now old Possum had kind of a funny tail if you looked at Snarley's tail, because Snarley's tail was big and beautiful and fluffy and red, had a white puff on the end of it. It was right pretty. But then on the other hand, old Possum, he could grab hold of things and hang on by his tail. He could hang upside down and all that kind of stuff. Snarley Fox can do that. Anyhow, it hurt Possum's feelings. And he started laughing so much about old Possum's tail, he was just about rolling over upside down, and all of a sudden he got his own tail too near the fire. And you know what happened?
No.
It caught on fire, and you know, he put it out in Brushy Creek. Like I told you, it was cold that day. I mean, it was cold. It was so cold that just right at that time, the creek frizz over and froze old Snarley's tail just as solid into that ice as it could be. Now, you know, all of a sudden things weren't funny anymore. You know, it was serious business because Snarley had his tail frozen in the ice. And I was going to try to help him. So I grabbed a hold of his paw and I started pulling on it like that. And he was struggling the best he could. And we couldn't get it out. He was just stuck in there. And we needed just a little bit more help. And it was getting colder and colder and colder. And about that time I had an idea. I said if I could get a rope and tie my leg to that persimmon tree, tie the leg to it, then I could get a hold of Snarley Fox, and with all that extra pull, I believed I could pull him right out of there and we could save him. But I didn't have any rope. Then old Possum came by and I saw him, And I thought about it, and I looked at that persimmon tree, and I looked at his tail, and I looked at my foot, and I figured it all out, that if he put his tail around that persimmon tree and grabbed me by the leg and held on real tight, then I could grab hold of Snarley like that, and then we could pull him and get him out of there. But old Snarley had laughed at Possum about his tail, and Possum wasn't in too good a stead to help him, you know. So I did a heap of talking to old Possum on the side, and I told him how serious it was, and that I thought that probably Snarley was real sorry about what he said. And old Snarley apologized to him, and Possum finally agreed, although he didn't want to. He agreed to wrap his tail around that persimmon tree, and he did, and he grabbed hold of me by the leg, and I grabbed old Snarley Fox like that, and we tugged and pulled, and out it came all of a sudden. Just like that, just like it froze up, it came out. Only problem is it had pulled all the fur off of Snarley's tail. Now, I'm going to tell you, it looked slicker than a stick at that time. Wasn't pretty like it used to be. Looked a whole lot like Possum's tail to me. Now, the moral of this story is don't ever play with matches when your mama tells you not to, because you're liable to get your tail burned. And don't ever laugh at anybody, because you're liable to wind up needing their help or looking just like